burnout doesn't mean that you're burning out because you're working extra hours and you're overworked. That's not how burnout happens. Burnout happens because we do not pause. You could burn out in 5 hours. You don't have to burn out in 15 hours in a day. Burnout means that when your body said stop, you did not stop.
They say it's lonely at the top. They're right. But you don't have to scale your company alone. Welcome to the Scaling CEO. I'm Glenn Gow, the CEO Success Coach. On this podcast, I sit down with top performing CEOs to uncover the hidden patterns and frameworks behind their success so you can avoid common pitfalls and accelerate your company's growth. Now, on to the show. Today, we're joined by a leader who is simultaneously scaling a legacy food empire and a movement of human fulfillment. Kiran Mann is the CEO of Brar, one of Canada's most respected food companies, and the founder of M2M Business Solutions. But what makes her work unique is her core question. What is the point of growth without fulfillment? From that question, she developed the Harmonic System, a framework that bridges the gap between hard business results and human happiness. She believes leadership starts with who you are before what you do. She's a top 10 inspiring CEO, a contributor to Forbes, and is currently a scholar researching emerging technologies and AI. Kiran, it's a pleasure to have you.
It is a pleasure to be here, and I thank you so much, Glenn, for asking me to join you.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Now, your work is built on the question, what's the point of growth without fulfillment? Most CEOs are obsessed with growth first. So looking back, what's the single biggest scaling insight you've learned, the one that would have saved you the most pain, had you only discovered after you started prioritizing fulfillment?
I would say, just to touch a little bit on that concept, businesses are started and are growing to make money. That is always the core of every single business. But what I also believe is in that while we're working towards the outcomes and the end goals that we have, we should never forget to enjoy the journey that we're going on through it. And the journey is done with people in all spaces. Every um, stakeholder is a human being. Other than the AI machines that we have, everybody's a humans, and human factor is to make sure that we are enjoying the ride, we are happy, and we feel fulfilled. So my focus is that yes, organizational success is important, but so is people fulfillment, because it is directly related. As you're working on more production efficiencies, you're working on engagement, you're working on retention, which is all correlated to the concept I have. It in the end, it allows you to bring organizational success, but it bridges a gap between the two. And my philosophy is you don't have to pick one; they can coexist together.
I love that. I talk a lot about enjoying the journey with my CEOs that I coach. Many times when I first meet a CEO, they'll tell me, Glenn, this is not at all what I've signed up for. This is not meeting my expectations. I'm feeling enormous pressure, not enjoying what's going on. And I said, well, that's not why we're here. We were
Yeah.
here to create an environment where you can be successful across the board in your entire life, not just in running the business. So I'm a big fan of your approach. Now, you
Thank you.
spent, you're welcome. Now, you spent 20 years in the automotive industry, and now you're the CEO of a legacy food manufacturer. So, talk to us about the harmonic system and workplace happiness on a factory floor. How do you get a frontline worker and a C suite executive to buy into the same harmony?
I would say the thought process is who comes before why. And oftentimes in organizations, we're focusing on, understanding and measuring what's our engagement rates, what our retention rates are, how happy people are, and, how people are engaged in their workplaces. And then we apply certain formulas to to hope and to ensure that we're getting those results.
Mhm.
Um, my thought process is going into the root cause of it. Why did we have a misengagement? Why there is people that are disengaged? Why would we even have a retention issue? Or why our efficiencies are low? Because people are not feeling fulfilled. And that's where the space that I'm working on, and it starts from the top level.
Right.
It is not a task and a portfolio that should be handed over to leadership or people under that as managers, and then, run it as a campaign to understand and do activities and, you know, host lunches and, have some happy hours and so on. Yeah, yes, 100%. Those are all important because that is how people come together. There is a lot of strength into bringing people together so that they can integrate and be part of the ecosystem. But what is very important is to have a clarity on the top level, because the clarity is that allows you to filter the information and what expectations and alignments into the levels down. And when that clarity is missing at the top level, when we are not clear who we are as a top leader, we do not understand clearly what we are as an organization. And if I ask that question to multiple people, they're going to say, "What is the rocket science in that?" Of course, I know who I am, and of course, I know what my organization is. My question would be, then why does your five people define your vision in five different versions?
Right. Right.
Because
Right.
when there is a clarity, the clarity is passed on with the clarity,
I love
and
that.
not right, because as you're going into levels and levels, that same information gets transfers into another version, another version. One of my mentor once told me, he's like, "Karen, how many versions are of a story?" And I'm like, "My version, your version?" He's like, "The answer is there's as many as version as many people came in touch with it,
That's right.
because everybody puts a touch to it, everybody has a perspective to it, and the information can change." Similar is in an organization. When that clarity gets diluted down the road, it can impact how the work is happening at the places which is the execution spaces, is the house spaces.
That's right. And
So clarity, go ahead, go ahead.
no, I wrote, you keep using this wonderful word clarity, which I wanted to jump on your bandwagon here, because when I talk to CEOs, I say, look, everybody in your organization needs clarity. They want to understand, what are we here to do, and what are the expectations of us, so that we can perform against that. And when you focus on clarity, you're giving clear objectives to the team to go do the following things. And if people don't have those clear instructions, not instructions, directions on where to go and what we're trying to accomplish, then they're going to drift off and not get what you want done.
Yes, yes. So the whole purpose of how do you get clarity, right? And that's where the harmonic system comes in place of how it allows the people to understand who they are. And there's a whole process of getting through that. It's a skill that you adapt, and it's also a growing that you grow within you to understand that part. And also, you do the same thing to an organization. I treat the organization as a human being and a top executive, that is the C-suite and and the VP levels, the top tier and the organization are the soul of the company. And if they're the soul of the company, they need to be one voice, have that commonality with each other, and have that understanding with each other. And then one voice trickles down. But to get that to one voice, to get that to oneness, to get that to clarity, there's a lot of work that they have to do on their own. And that's where I personally say to myself, as a CEO, when did I question myself? I can question anybody in an organization. Why don't I question myself?
Right.
When was the last time I looked at my resume and said, "Am I capable to be sitting in the position I'm sitting?"
Well,
Right?
let's talk about that. So, and this may be related. You talk about the joy movement, which stands for just overcome yourself. And I work with CEOs who are sometimes burning out trying to scale. They feel stuck. So tell us about your journey, and what's your direct advice to the leader who wants to scale personally but feels trapped and can't see the path forward?
I would say, first of all, you touched on the point burnout. So I just recently, about maybe a month ago, started LinkedIn Live, and it's just literally a very fun and safe space. And I thought that, it would just allow me to connect to people. LinkedIn probably is my sort of like a home, if I want to call it, on the internet.
Yeah.
And it's called The Morning Kiran. And the topic was balance and burnout,
Really?
from burnout to balance. Yeah, burnout to balance. And I shared about what it means. It shared about, what happens through it and what are the simple, small things that we can do to overcome that and move towards balance. And how do you define balance? And would love to for your audience to listen to that if anybody is interested in that.
Yeah.
But to give my two a spin on that would be um, balance is in the moment, you know and burnout doesn't mean that you're burning out because you're working extra hours and you're
Mhm.
overworked. That's not how burnout happens. Burnout happens because we do not pause. You could burn out in 5 hours. You don't have to burn out in 15 hours in a day. Burnout means that when your body said stop, you did not stop.
Mm,
I always compare that. Look at a elastic band. You can stretch an elastic; it'll go back to its body. It's back to its shape. But if you stretch it to the point, you know, and now it can go back. Now it's not an elastic anymore. Same as the human body. When you're using it, it's working and it's supporting you. But if you used it to the point it was giving you signals, you didn't stop, obviously it's going to exhaust and get tired and get to the burnout stage. So our body and mind gives us enough signals to do what we need to do and stop and pause and recharge and come back to what we're working upon. We often just miss it. So it's about burnout is losing the connection to ourselves, nothing to do with our jobs and titles and work hours.
that's really that's really powerful. And what kind of advice would you give to a CEO? You mentioned pausing, so let's go a little bit deeper. When we're not just thinking about the CEO, but the organization as a whole. Let's say with the entire organization is feeling some burnout because of the enormous pressure everyone's feeling. You gave some good advice at the CEO level. What about, or at the individual level, I should say? What about advice to a CEO on how they look at the entire organization to ensure everyone is not burning
Yeah, I wouldn't define burnout needs to be different for a CEO versus a person on the floor.
out?
Burnout is of a human being. It has nothing to do with jobs and titles. It's about a human and human habits. Uh, Burnout comes from our doubts. You know, I'm not good enough. And when you say that, you just keep on doing because you think you're not enough, so you need to do more. You know, burnout could be your fear that somebody thinks that, um, you know, um, I need to do certain things to prove my worth, you know, and you keep on doing it and you're not listening to your body signal. Burnout could be something because you're very obsessed of, achieving a target, but you're happy about it, but you're so doing it that you did not stop and stretch and, give yourself a break.
Right.
Uh, Burnout could be from an insecurity. So the burnout can happen in it's a human being thing. Has nothing to do with positions and places of work.
Mhm.
People can burn out being a homemaker. You could
Right.
start your day at 4 a.m. and you did not stop. And by the time you collapse in bed at 11 p.m. and your kids and your spouse is in bed, you're like, oh my God, like I can't even walk to the bed because I'm exhausted.
That's right.
So the burnout can happen to any one of us, right? As not related to the work.
That's right.
How you would stop? Like sometimes I just say burnout can turn into a balance in a moment. You know, right now we're like talking, Glenn, you and I, and you want to balance yourself. All you got to do is close your eyes and say, breathe in,
Mhm.
pause, breathe out. Those 5 seconds are gold. We may just think that I do that all the time. Do you? We breathe all the time. Do we really take a breathe in, pause? Because when you paused for those 5 seconds, you forgot about what you were doing. You forgot about how the day is going for you. You forgot about anything that is challenging you. And all you did was pause and sync with the universe and with the time around you. And you just came back. And with those 5 seconds hold of breath and letting go, all you did was re-annihilate and channelized everything in your body inside you. Your breathing, your mind and soul and body just sinked in for those 5 seconds. And sometimes that is all you need. And you can do more and more of those. You can stretch your body, get up and do what you got to do, shake it off, and to allow you to keep on continuing whatever you're working on. So it's pauses.
You're pursuing a doctorate in emerging technologies and generative AI right now. So talk to us about how AI is going to change the role of the CEO and how it changes the way we think about scaling an organization.
First of all, I am not asking every CEO to do these kind of things 100%. I am a lifelong learner, so I'm always up to something or the other. And this happens to be the next one, but it 100% resonates with what I do, and it resonates with what I would like to bring to the world. Is a big part and is becoming a bigger part of everybody's existence in life and the day in companies and organizations. And as CEO, multiple times you are aware of all the softwares and technologies that are using. That doesn't mean that you understand the back end of it. Not that I'm trying to learn all the technicality of it, but yes, I would like to do study about how AI can be integrated with the human, and
Yeah,
that is one of my key factor to do that as we use these technologies and AI to bring all sort of improvements, whether it's production efficiencies, whether it is human support systems, and helping them in every fashion we can. I love the remote part that now these technologies can do, where sometimes my suppliers are offshore and they can just remotely access and guide us, and our downtime is improving day by day with that. So love those part of things. What I would like to spend my time in is understand that how the human and the tool, where AI is the tool, can integrate together, and when they're integrated together, they're working as in one ecosystem. Because I believe AI is not to replace human; it is to support human.
beautiful.
And what kind of technologies that are being worked upon, where I can bring my presence and my concepts while understanding what theirs are, and then integrate it, because I could harp on what my thoughts and beliefs and what I would desire to have in this world, but then technology people have their own side, and the best way to really understand and come together and meet in the middle is to understand both sides. And that is my approach to understand that side from that whole depth perspective, and not just as a user or a person that allows my team to use it, but to also allow myself to learn the depth of it so that we can bring it all together in the integration and as a support system of a human as an extension for them.
I love that. I think the key word here is integration, and I really
Yeah.
support that
Yeah.
approach.
Yeah.
So, Kiran, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us. How can
Thank you, Glenn.
you, if they want to reach out to you?
Well, I think the first best place is to go to my LinkedIn, Kiran Mann. And if, or you can go to kiranmann.com, my website. And yes, and you can look at me and check out and contact me with all the Brar's websites.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. You've been a real pleasure to talk to, and I've learned a lot from you.
Thank you so much, Glenn. And I appreciate you giving me the time to speak and share with your audience. And I hope there's a nugget or two that can be beneficial to somebody. And I thank all your listeners that are giving their time to listen to what we discussed.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
That's a wrap for today's episode of The Scaling CEO. If you found this valuable, be sure to like, subscribe, and share with a fellow CEO who could benefit. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please give us a quick rating, as it really helps more people find the show. I'm Glenn Gow, the CEO Success Coach. See you next time for more proven strategies to grow your business and leadership.